So, did Artemis know that Bianca was a daughter of Hades, and was she actually trying to save her? The story of Bianca D'Angelo has divided a lot of fans. Some really dislike what she did to Nico at the beginning of the Titan's Curse, and some are more understanding and forgiving of her choice to decide to join the hunt. And a lot of characters in the series reflect these same sentiments, but is it possible that it was deeper than we were initially led to believe? You guys seem to really be enjoying the quote game, so let's do that again, while we get into whether or not Artemis knew Bianca's history. If you haven't played, it's simple. Go down into the comments and leave a quote from your favorite Percy Jackson book, then go to someone else's quote and guess where it's from. While you do that, let's dive in. When Percy, Talia, and Annabeth get to Westover Hall, we learn that Grover has been tracking two incredibly powerful demigods, and he needed help getting them home to camp. But they're interrupted by the Manticore. Despite their best efforts, the Manticore proves to be too much for the four of them, and the Hunters of Artemis come to their rescue, but not without seemingly losing Annabeth. Later in the book, we find out that Annabeth was considering joining them, and this is the reason that we're given as to why they were at Westover Hall in the first place, but we believe that there might be something deeper going on. Remember, Bianca D'Angelo was not a normal demigod, because where most demigods don't know their godly parent until they get to camp. But her father had already claimed her, and knowledge of her existence was public among the gods decades ago. When the Great Prophecy was first issued, it was amidst a war that was being fought between the children of the Big Three, a war that literally consumed the entire world. Zeus demanded that Hades was to turn over Nico and Bianca to him, and when he refused to do so, Zeus attempted to kill them. And this seems like something that would have been significant news among the gods, so we find it almost certain that Artemis at least knew that Hades had children. Whether or not she knew that they'd survived is another question, but we do know that the gods have a much wider perspective than mortals do, so it's perfectly reasonable that she'd be able to identify the two as the children of Hades. If this is the case, then inviting Bianca to join the hunt might have been an effort not to just save her from the Great Prophecy, but from the wrath of Zeus, who's already tried to kill her once. And we know that Artemis has a thing for protecting maidens. We don't know a ton about how the hunters recruit, since we only get to see a few members join, but the other members of the hunt that we get to see initiated are Talia and Reyna, who by this point have been thoroughly vetted. We know that they hand out pamphlets to recruits, but even by these metrics, Bianca's recruitment seems unusually fast. Nobody knows anything about her, yet the hunters want her to join the very same day that they meet, with no background check and no idea who this girl really is. A group as careful as the hunters seem like they would have more safeguards in place, which leaves us to wonder if Artemis herself was the one who wanted Bianca to join the ranks before Zeus found her or before she turned 16. She understands the weight and significance of the Great Prophecy, and we actually see at the end of the book that she works to avert it again, or to at least kick the can a few years down the road. So it's not out of character for her to manipulate the details of the prophecy to fall in her favor. When Zoe Nightshade dies, Artemis personally extends the invitation to Talia to finally join the hunt, and it's not lost on her that this is the eve of her 16th birthday. Talia is a formidable soldier and a fierce leader, but that's not the only reason why Artemis wanted Talia to lead the hunt in Zoe's stead, and it's not the only reason Talia wanted to join the hunt either. Artemis and Talia both wanted to prolong the Great Prophecy to make sure it fell into the correct hands, so who's to say that Artemis wasn't working one step ahead when she met Bianca? She respects Percy, despite the fact that he's a boy, and Artemis is wise enough to know that Percy's loyalty and his compassion for his friends and enemies alike will make him the right choice to fulfill the prophecy. On several occasions, Artemis backs Percy and tells him that he has earned her respect, but we as the audience know that he can never join the hunt. Talia, however, is headstrong and crippled by the anxiety of her being the child of the prophecy, and we get to see her wrestle with the dilemma of sacrificing the Ophiutorus. In this moment, everyone believes that when Talia turns 16, her choice will be whether or not to sacrifice Bessie in order to claim the power necessary to overthrow the gods, and she wavers. When she has the opportunity, she's tempted, and she almost does it, which makes us incredibly fearful that Talia would have been the wrong choice if she was the child of the prophecy. We're not confident that Talia could have actually made the right decision, and it's quite possible that Artemis saw the same hesitation. Percy describes her eyes as glazing over as if she were in a trance, and he has to snap her out of it before things get worse, and we know that this is not the first time Artemis has made this offer. She tried to recruit Talia several years ago when she was on the run with Luke and Annabeth, but we don't get any indication that she offered Annabeth the same choice all those years ago. One option is that Annabeth was simply too young, but another way of looking at it is that Artemis sought Talia out in order to prevent her from being the child of the prophecy, because she too knew better. If Artemis knew that Bianca was a daughter of Hades, she might not have trusted her more than she trusted Talia or Percy with the weight of the prophecy. After all, it's Artemis who extends the invitation, but it's Bianca who accepts, all but abandoning Nico into the care of Camp Half-Blood while she ran off to join the hunt. Whatever you think of Bianca's decision is up to you, but it shows us that she has the capacity to leave her brother behind, which makes us wonder if the choice came down to her, would she be able to make the hard call to save Olympus? We don't know what her decision would have been, but given that she left Nico behind, we're not confident that she would have been able to save Olympus when it came down to it. So then, did Artemis know this as well? If she extended the offer and Bianca refused, then would it have probably given Artemis more confidence that Bianca was capable of saving Olympus by making the hard choice? And if she accepted, then the choice would be out of her hands. So either way, there's no way for Artemis to lose this gambit. Either Bianca accepts and doesn't age anymore, or she shows she's noble enough to do the right thing even when it's hard. By taking Bianca out of the equation, she would ensure that in the event that Talia either joins the hunt or dies, that the prophecy would fall to Percy. And even though Talia was older than Bianca at the time, Artemis wasn't done trying. So she may have been setting more safeguards in place to steer the prophecy toward the demigod that she personally trusted the most with it. And the final piece of the puzzle was the stress of Talia nearing 16. This would mean that the prophecy would come down to Percy or Nico. And at the end of the Titan's Curse, we find out that Nico is a son of Hades, and Percy actively chooses the prophecy. He outright tells Annabeth that he will not let the prophecy be about anyone else. He embraces it wholeheartedly in order to protect Nico from ever having to go down that road. And these are exactly the same traits that Artemis was looking for. This is what sets Percy aside from Bianca or Talia. The fact that he will step up and choose to bear the weight of the world for other people, which both Bianca and Talia had the chance to do, and they turned it down. If Artemis knew this, then so much more of Bianca's story makes sense. But we want to turn the question over to you. As always, we love this series, we love talking about this series, and we love to hear what you have to say on the matter. Take care of your tribe, stay safe, demigods, and we'll see you in the next one.